Hi everyone and welcome back to my videos. My name is Laura. If you did not know that, well you probably did because I think it says so probably several times in my intro, but hello and welcome. Look at my dragon gloves. We've seen these before, I've had these for many years, but I've realised I've never featured the awesomeness of my dragon gloves on the show before, and every time I wear them I get so much, like everyone in every shop goes, oh my god, those gloves. My friend Jennifer makes these, Spiral Star Crafts, check it out on Facebook. They are amazing and they are my favourite things when winter comes along. Mother of Dragons gloves. Okay, so here is a video about something that I haven't done or thought about a lot, I've been asked about a lot, and I know there's some amazing videos on this subject on YouTube, and I would advise you to check out other people's channels for this because I'm a bit of a Scrooge at sharing my my personal stuff. But finally, after many years on YouTube, I'm going to do a video about books of shadows, grimoires and magical journals, and maybe if for different stages of your spiritual path, your spiritual journey, what it is that you might use, what it is that would be right for you. So if you're Wiccan or pagan or just interested, shamanic, spiritual path, I can give you some hints and tips on how to get started, what you might want to include, and just some ideas as well. Now, as I said, there's loads of amazing videos, and I love looking at people's books of shadows and grimoires and stuff online. I really enjoy it, and obviously the most awesome video on it is Molly from Her Speaks grimoire, where she goes walks through it. It's just amazing, so I'll put that video below, but you've probably already seen it. And there's some great, I love looking at everyone's grimoires. It's quite addictive, isn't it? However, there's not much I'll be showing you guys today. I'll show you a very old book of shadows, my first book of shadows, probably my strictest Wiccan book of shadows. But let's have a look at what it is and what, if you don't know what this is all about, what one is. Now, I'm a big diary journal keeper if I'm in a good space and I've got the time. Not to tell you what I've done in the day, but more to go through something that's inspired me, a poem, a feeling, a dream, a meditation. And for me, it's a really, I know it's a healthy part of my daily practice, or at least weekly practice, that I've been to my journal, that I've been to my, I call mine a magical journal nowadays. Grimoire sounds like it might be something a little bit epic and a bit serious, and Book of Shadows is a particularly Wiccan title, and I'm a bit of all of it, a bit more freestyle these days. But, it's part of my routine to know that I'm on a really good path of self-reflection, self-growth, and that I'm really processing stuff and being creative with what's going on my magical journey. Why I do a magical journal now is because every bit of my life is magical. I don't separate it off ritual to day to day. I find that even going shopping, no, I don't really put that in there, but every bit of my life is weaved together as something that is important and magical. So I do in my nowadays, before I tell you what a Book of Shadows etc. is and go through that, nowadays what goes into my magical journal is an exploration of all the things that I'm going through on my journey. So it'll be a meditation that I do, it'll be a shamanic journey and what I saw and experienced. It will be a poem that I'm inspired by, it'll be a song that I've written, it will be a collage, like a vision board. I have to put little vision boards inside my magical journal. It'll be something about a goddess that I found out. It'll be how I feel about things. It'll be nightmares I've had, therapy that I'm kind of putting myself through. It'll be all these different things, light and shadow, and as honest as I can, and fairies that I've talked to that want to speak, power animals that I'm connecting with. Is a free flow form of all these things, and it's very visual. I often draw a lot in my book of shadows, in my magical journal. You can call it anything, it's just a name. Tarot spreads that I've created or that I've found interesting from other people. Recipes, though I'm not the best cook, but magical recipes, and also things that I've found to work in spellcraft, so spells and rituals, the seasonal reflections, all these things now will go into my book of magic, and there's no real order to it. There is no order to it. I've not got sections in it. It will be flowing, how I feel from day to day. It will flow. There is no sections or order at all, and I work best that way. I think if I try and doctor it, it will just lose something for me. Though I know for other people that having sections and order really inspires them. So what I'm sharing with you is just how I do it, and without a doubt it will not work for everyone. There is no right and wrong way. The only right way is that it fires you up, it makes you excited. When I'm going through a bit of a flat time, I don't want to see my journal, don't want to know about it. I'm neglecting certain things. I'm probably neglecting bits of myself. And if I push myself a little just to start, and just to write something, write an experience, then it starts to grow. And I can always tell and look back on my journals when I was feeling flat and it wasn't very inspired to when I was really going there. So with your magical journals, if this is not a strict Book of Shadows, you can really just explore how you're feeling. It's a space for you to reflect, to feel that magic, to really go into those dreams that you've had and the symbols that they contain, and to explore them, because when I do that, they're often so much more rich, and I'll come back to them months later. Well, let's kind of go back for a second to what a Book of Shadows is. Now, a Book of Shadows is a Wiccan book that records your magical journey. And I have a printed out Book of Shadows that I was given as well from a group. I'm not going to share any of that, I'm not going to share group secrets with anyone who's not in the group. And also when I was going through Wicca, I copied down a traditional Book of Shadows. So that's Initiatory Wicca in a group. But this is which I'm not sharing either. But obviously for good reason. It's respect to the coven. It's kind of private stuff. And there is power in keeping things contained in some ways. But this is my first, there we go, little black book from 2004. There might be one before this, but I think it's the first one that I officially started writing. I think this is my first one. Oh, I'm actually surprised at how neat my handwriting is. You know what? That has deteriorated. But also there's a cautiousness to it. But I love it. When I got into Wicca, when I discovered it, it was just such a soul revelation. It really made me feel like I'd come home so strongly, and I can feel that preciousness as I look at it. I feel this preciousness of how special this was to me. So look at my neat writing, if you can see it, really neat. What is in this is the elements of, so this is things, I'll say some things that are in this and things you might want to put. Basically, first of all, I'll start with things you might want to put in your Book of Shadows if you're more ordered than me. I'm only being unordered now because I was very ordered at the beginning, and for me to continue being that ordered over a decade of doing this, it would have totally drained the life out of me. There would have been no expansion or no exploration. But for the first few years of my Wiccan path, I was very ordered with how I did things, and I followed I think that's really good because it teaches you all you need to know. Like, it's important to know these things. So even if you're not Wiccan, if you're anything of a pagan spirituality, this is a good way to really connect with the seasons. So things you might want to put in your Book of Shadows is, it just makes me happy, reminding me of my little old days, is obviously when you're starting it, what season is it? What festival is it? What are you near? Like right now, as I record this, we're between Samhain, just after Samhain, and the winter solstice. So really the great thing is to look at the Sabbats, but to write about them maybe when you're going through them could be a really good idea, and to write about the festivals, the seasons. So that's a core part of most pagan spirituality, isn't it? The Wheel of the Year is a core part of spirituality. So going through the cycles of the seasons and the celebrations, and how you personally celebrate these. So this could be how you celebrate it in a coven, in a group, the official celebrations. And if you're doing this on your own and you're learning, research it, look online, and find out how other people celebrate it. Find some kind of structure. But also, for me, it's so important to find your own way and to see how you feel about this. So going for walks in nature. I think I wrote one of my favourite poems by Robert Frost. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Always one of my favourite poems. And I put this, obviously you found the leaves from a woodland walk in November a long, long time ago. I put that in there. And they're just moments from how you were feeling at that time. So this one, my first one, is mixed between official Wicca stuff that I was writing and just moments of exploration and how I felt. This is so tidy. Gosh, I don't think my writing is at all that neat anymore. Beautiful, beautiful writing. But yeah, so find out what the seasons of the year are always a great place to start. And then also the moon phases as well, going through the moon phases is a great place to work with as well. So write the different moon phases. Again, do it as you go along, you can do. You can draw out a wheel of the year, and then you could draw or write or draw, make a collage of the different plants and flowers and trees that are around at that time of year. So you could make a wheel of the year, sort of circle, split it up into the 8 festivals, and put drawings or impressions of the flowers and the trees that really you notice at that time of year. And that's a really beautiful thing to do, to really tune into the seasons, the tides of the year. So starting with the seasons of the year is a great way to really get your Book of Shadows or your magical journal going. Yeah, even to this day I really do connect so strongly with the festivals, and that's always a big point in my journal, you know, celebrating and how I feel at that time of year, and what is relevant at that time and what the rituals are like at that time. So obviously the 8 festivals, the moon phases as well, and maybe you could experiment with different rituals at different times of the moon. Obviously new moon is for invoking, for manifesting, for bringing in, for wishing. The full moon is all good powered up magic for completion and high energy, for healing and for bringing in the things you wish for. And then the waning moon, the dark moon, is for releasing and banishing. So you could write down how you feel at different times with different moon phases, and you can create really beautiful pages on that. This one isn't particularly visual. My first one, it's very writey, and that's great. And I've got some alphabets there. So you've got the rune alphabet, the Elder Futhark, and then I have the Theban script, so different witchy alphabets in there. So yeah, there's some nice things like that. What else? So I go through this journal and I'm putting the different festivals I've been to, the different rituals I've been to, and writing about the rituals. And then I'm going through the elements as well, and the elements and their correspondences, the elements and how they work within us. So I'm writing about the elements, earth, air, fire and water, but I'm looking at the elements about how I experience them in my body and in the world around me. And I've researched some correspondences as well. So I'm looking at different aspects of like how fire is in my stomach, it's my digestion, my nerve impulses, my fevers, my desires, the beating of my heart, the way moods take me, the colour of my blood, my inspiration. So I'm writing about how fire is for me, but also I'm writing some correspondences as well. So yeah, and water, and I'm going through the different, first of all, then I'll go through the pentagram, some more poems here, some chants as well. So it's basically, I'm going through the basics. But always very useful, and going through each season. I'm also going through different things I'm learning. So the time is elemental, ritual, tool consecration. So how to create your tools. I've got the structure of a Wiccan ritual as well at the beginning, and also at the beginning the Wiccan read, and harm you know and do what you will. So there's loads of stuff here, and so it goes from structure, a lot of structure in this first book, and a few bits of magic things you can make, meditations, spells, and more. So yeah, that's different spirits, different symbols, how to banish and to invoke with the pentagram. So there's different things that I put in here. So that was my first one. And I also say I've got other books which are of a similar structure, that as I went through my Wiccan path, you look through your lineage, through your initiations, and you look through different parts of Wicca. So that was my basic one. I'm not going to share the other ones because they're group stuff. And then, so I was saying for me personally, and then I just realised that I didn't keep a proper journal for many years. And I wondered why. I think I said I don't know why, but I think I was just a bit avoiding stuff, maybe, or so much stuff was going on. So as many years went by, and there was not a whatever you call it, Book of Shadows, a journal. Like, there was a few, and as I said, I had the solid stuff that came through from my group work, but I hadn't been exploring my own stuff in written form so much. I mean, I'm always drawing and painting, exploring things in that way. But so this book was from 2004, and I looked to find today the next book that, if I put it so it's not to fall off, the next book that felt to be the, you know, after a bit of a hiatus, the most relevant, basically the way I started doing things now, from 2014. So it's actually like May 2014, that was October, so it's 9.5 years. It kind of feels quite apt, doesn't it? For me it does. I thought, well, that seems quite a time, an important amount of time, 9.5 years from when I started to this next book coming along. So obviously there's books in between, but these dates both were with the 4s. And yeah, this became about some practices, about the full moons, but it became more in this space about, yes, courses I was doing, yes, workshops I was going through, and magic stuff I was doing on my own, fairy journeys and explorations, totem animal trips that I was going on, and visions that I was seeing. So this is when it's kind of started being a bit more like that, and I started also just putting in some more visuals, photos of rituals and things like that. But yeah, this is when it became important for me again. I think, and I did, of course I wrote, so I had loads of notebooks and stuff, but for a kind of a continual journal, I had been a few years without one, I can tell you that. So that's when that first started, and then since 2014, I have been really on it, not constantly, but pretty consistently. So the next one we have here, and again in it I like to put in things like vision boards inside the inside here. Also drawing things in here. There's things I just feel are still really personal, so I don't share much. They get more and more creative actually. This was the second one from 2015, 2016. Or no, I think it's from New Year's Day 2000 and when was it from? Let me have a look. Not that it really matters to anyone else apart from me. 2016, yeah, New Year's Day, pretty much 2016, till Lammas 2016. Then I got the next one here, which is still really personal to me, so I'm not sharing. And then as I moved house, the next journal began, and they just became really adventures in my connection with the world, but also my own life. I don't separate my experiences, like how I deal with relationships, how I deal with changes or walks I go on. I don't separate that from a ritual, you know, in the fact of importance level. They're all this different things which can make me who I am and are magical and are powerful and are real. So that's why I call it Magical Journal these days, because it is this journal of all the magic weaved together. But I did start off very much, and it's important to have that base, because you can always look back on it, that baseline of this is how a ritual is set up. And if you do want to pass it on to other people as a teaching aid at some point, you know, my journals are really cool looking now, but if we're not going to teach people, well, you know, you never know. But you know, it's not going to be a cohesive description of how to do things. But the original ones are more cohesive. Okay, here's how you explore this. But of course, doing that for 15 years would drive anyone up the wall. So now I'm at just an exploration stage, and that's why I fell in love with doing the journaling again and being creative with it and really exploring. And the more you write stuff down, the more you experience from it. So, you know, you have a healing treatment and you go, yeah, that happened. And you write it down, and then it becomes something where you can actually explore it more, and you remember it, and the bits that are irrelevant and important come back. And dreams I've had that are really important and special to me and powerful, I write down. More normally I draw. I'll show you one dream that I drew. I think. Can we see it? This is in. Where's the last dream? The last dream that I drew. Yeah, I just. You know, so that puts me back in that dream space. And yeah, that's something that I would have forgotten about, the vividness of how special it felt for me if I hadn't put it down in some way. So dreams and meditation, shamanic journeys, you go great while you're in them. It's amazing. When you come out of it, it can go quite quickly, and there's some things you can go back and learn from, and the symbols can mean something. So they're quite important. And what I would say is that this is all very personal stuff. So if it's not your cup of tea, it isn't how you do it, that's absolutely cool. This is everyone's perfect personal journey, and to be respectful of each other's past and respectful of each other's space. I am really private with my magical journal because it is so personal to me, because it is how I connect on a day-to-day level. And it's sort of, yeah. So you can have two journals going on if you like. You have 3, 4, 5. You have a dream journal on one hand. I just know that if I have too many books, none of them get used. So I just put it all in one. But if you know you're the person that will do that, it's really nice to have a dream journal, a book of shadows or a grimoire, or your kind of structural book. And maybe another journal about your feelings. That's absolutely wonderful if you know you're the kind of person that gets on with that kind of thing. I know that if I tried that, every book would suffer. Because at this moment in time, I might change that, but I know everything would suffer because I would get, you know, I would get annoyed, and I would just get lame with it, I think. And I know that if it's all in one place, it just feels sacred and special. I just love the energy of it, and you can always use that information to put somewhere else. Like, I've got a massive folder of all the courses that I've written. It's humongous. It's probably my only really organised thing, that I print all my courses out and I put them in like little plastic pouches, and I get really organised about it because I'm really happy with them. In a way, that is a book of shadows, because I've written all these courses about these different areas of my magical life that I work with, and there it is in instructional kind of exploration way. So that's pretty my structure place now, that I've got these courses all written down. There's a load of them, they're huge. And if you want to find out more about my courses, go to my website, or laurarelligan.com, if you would like to. But that's probably more my structural book of Laura Magic now, where if I have one place where all my personal journeys and explorations go, then I feel really at home with that. But do what's right for you. If you want a dream journal in one place, if you want a book where you write about the trees in another place, do what it inspires you. Again, for me, I just know that one place is better because I know what I'm like. But don't feel afraid to make a journal that's really explorative, that's creative. And if you're not much of an artistic person, there's always collage. And that's like with my vision boards. It's always great to print out stuff and collage it down. I always think a bit of nature that you find, a bit of images and a bit of glitter and a bit of paint spattered around, make something truly beautiful that you're going to always get pleasure from, or always feel resonating with. You know, you're going to resonate with that energy. And having a magical journey or a book of shadows takes you back to that moment, and the power of that moment, and the feeling of that moment. And that is the power of them, really, isn't it? To have that special energy that you've encapsulated at that time. So for me, my first one, it's that excitement about discovering Wicca, and that absolute, my writing was very neat and tidy, and I was so delicate but sincere with this. And now I'm like, I'm sincere, but I'm a bit crazy now. No, just creative. I think we'll have that. But horses for courses and diaries and journals, the different time you're in. As I said before, like, I think maybe my courses now are more my structural thing, and my journals are just a very important, they're a very important part of just balancing and maintaining and recording and exploring this crazy journey of life, and all the magic and complexities, from when you feel rubbish to when you feel magically inspired, to when you discover something about a deity, to when you journey and connect with a new guide. All these things together are just wonderful to go back and look over, but also very powerful to keep. So I don't show people things very often. No one leaves through them, that's for sure. They're all something safe, something beautiful. And yeah, and I think that's the loveliness of them. You want to I mean that's, I'm probably overly private, but you may want to share them with other people. That's completely up to you, and I do with people I really trust. But it's something that, because it's so, like, it's my journey, and something that I want to really treasure and hold the energy with. So yeah, I hope that's helped anyone that's confused on how to start these things or doesn't know what they should be doing inside their journals. There's amazing videos out there, as I said, lots of great videos. Just look on YouTube, all the YouTube awesome witches and pagans and that have made great videos about this, and some of them have shown you their lovely, like the lovely Anika as well, showing you their lovely journal and Book of Shadows in depth, and I love looking through it all. But just do what inspires you. I think it's great to have a place of structure, and I think it's great also to have a place of absolute freedom. So you may find those can coexist in one book, or you may find that maybe one comes first, like mine, and the other one's later. Whatever works for you, but if you're having a structural book and you can keep a separate journal at the same time, where you can just go through it and really express, because your spiritual path is an absolute mine of you and your magic and your talents and your beauty and your fears and your concerns and your aspirations and your beliefs. So having a space where you can explore them and really let that loose in a physical way, where you're going to be able to go back and, as I said, see that pocket of time and feel its energy again. It is really, really magical and special. It's a magical tool, and it's something that, even if it isn't going to give you instructional ABC how to do certain things, it's going to inspire you in the future and remind you the power and the beauty and the chaos and the joy of your life and your journey through the spiralling year. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe and share and all those lovely things. Really nice to see you guys again, and hopefully see you all soon. Bye.